Hello everybody, welcome back. Bruce here with DIY Homestead Projects. Today I want to talk about some fun beginner welding projects. And one of the first beginner welding project that I ever did was I built this Welders third hand tool, or a welding third hand. If you've never heard of a Welders third hand, I'll just show you kind of how it's used. It's just for holding parts together, and so you can get a tack weld on them and build small intricate pieces. And they come in all different sizes and types. You can buy them, and most guys just build their own out of just scrap pieces of metal they got laying around their shop. Well, that's what I did with this one. I built it out of some 1/2 inch rebar that I had, and I use it all the time. It's a real handy tool, and it's a fun beginner welder project. But what I noticed about it, the one that I had built, a lot of guys will use a big heavy piece of metal in here to add weight to the tip, so that when you rest that on the table on this side, that weight presses on that tip and it holds your part in place. Well, mine needed modified, so I went ahead and did a few modifications to it recently. I just took a piece of, I think it's about 1.125 by 3/4 of an inch. Very, very thin. It's less than 1/16 of an inch thick. I think it's 0.045 or 17 gauge. Just a piece of pipe I had laying around. It's probably, well, I don't know where it came from. I just picked it up at the scrapyard. Mine was galvanized, so I had to take my flap disc and sand the galvanized coating off of it so it's more safe to weld. I think there was some galvanized coating on the inside of it as well. You'll see some of the smoke when I was welding it, but I welded it up in the garage with the door open. And sometimes I'll put up a little fan to kind of blow the smoke away from my face while I'm welding, if I have that situation. Just be careful welding up anything that's galvanized or coated, because it could be pretty toxic. You don't want to breathe that stuff in. So cut a piece about 3 or 4 inches long, and I had some lead ingots. I took a chunk of lead ingot that I had that would fit inside that square tube, and I just cut a couple of small caps for it and then welded those on. And I welded them on with the TIG 225X. And one of the first projects I've ever done using the pulse feature, I had the TIG 225X welder settings. I had it set to 50 amps. I was on 2T because I was using a foot pedal. I had the base current set at 5%, and pulse frequency was about 1 pulse per second, maybe just slightly less than that. 6 seconds of pulse flow is generally where I keep the machine for all types of welding. And I had the pulse button up in the upper position, which was low pulse. And it actually did a really good job. I probably could have fine-tuned those settings slightly. I noticed maybe a little bit too much of a freeze on the puddle, but I was worried about the thickness and just burning a hole right through it. But I never did burn a hole. I welded it up real nice. I even had a couple of sections on one cap that I made for it. I was a little bit too wide on the cap, but it's so thin a metal, when that pulse hit it, it just melted that corner away and made a nice little outside corner out of it. But this is the end result and how it came out. So this box is that steel box, and it's full of lead. I just made it to where I could slip that piece of lead inside there and weld those caps on. Drilled a hole in the side of it so that when I welded those caps on, it didn't have pressure inside there and blow the weld out. That was a fun little project. And then I just tack welded it to the top of the welder's third hand. Hopefully that'll focus on that for you right there. Just tack welded a couple of big tack welds there just to hold it on top. And that added a lot of weight for the tip, so I can actually get more holding power out of it. really a fun deal. I really like this third hand. No matter how you make yours, you're going to find out if you're new to welding like I am, it's a very handy tool to have. And then another thing I did was kind of a fun project. I built this steel cube with outside corner joints. I did not use the pulse when I built this. I built this prior to modifying the third hand. I'm going to do another one of these and use pulse because I think it'll work out better than this. But this was my first attempt. And then I drilled a hole in it and I melted that lead, or some lead I had, in my lead lead pot and filled this thing full of hot molten lead and then let it cool down. It turned the whole box black, so I had to take some Scotch-Brite and kind of shine it up. But this is a very, very heavy steel cube. I don't know, it's probably 6 pounds, 7 pounds maybe even 10. And I'm going to use that for just for a heavy prop when I'm welding coupons together and stuff like that. Just a heavy block to help hold pieces of metal, keep them from sliding around on my table when I'm welding. So that was another fun beginner welding project that I did. And I'm going to do more of these because there's a lot of good practice in putting one of these together. Anyway, guys, I just wanted to show you a couple of those fun beginner welding projects that I've been involved in. And they really help you to develop your welding skills. Plus, they're a lot of fun to do. And these two are just very, very low cost. There's not much involved in this, but you do get a lot of practice. You can use them for stick welder practice or MIG welder practice, whatever you got. Either one of these you can build with any type of welder. A lot of fun, and for no cost or very little cost, you get some good, useful tools out of it. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this video, guys. I just wanted to make a short one to share those with you. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to give me a thumbs up to show that you like the video. That helps me out and gets the video out there for others to see. If you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel for more of this type of content and other DIY homestead type projects. And we'll see you guys on the next video.